Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Paula Abra. I am a doctor of natural medicine specializing in bioenergetic medicine. And today I have my lovely, lovely dear friend Cecilia with me. She has offered to do a little demo with me. We were just in Mexico together. Oh, such dear memories. And I was explaining to her where I have come, that I am now doing bioenergetic medicine. And since she was so interested in what I was doing, I thought, hey, let's do a demo together. And that's what we're doing today. But I just want to explain, not only is she a dear friend of mine, but Cecilia is absolutely the one and only person that I can attribute to me getting into energy medicine. Cecilia is a pranic healer. She's the very first pranic healer that I've ever went to. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even know what pranic healing was when I met Cecilia. And she opened my eyes to a world that there are no words to describe, without ever touching me, without knowing me, just by assessing my energy field. She knew the most intimate details of my life, and it blew me away. And I walked out of her office and I have never turned back. It has been almost 9 years of intense learning on my part. So Cecilia, please say hi, introduce yourself a little bit. And I know you want to share this with your Spanish speaking community as well. So feel free to talk in Spanish. Maybe I'll be able to hear a word or two before we jump in. And if you have any questions before we get going, by all means, let me know what you'd like to know.
Wow, such a beautiful introduction. Thank you, doctor. Now I can tell you, doctor.
Yes.
And yes, it was a long time ago that we met, and it was beautiful, and it's so beautiful that we are still in touch with each other. And yeah, I do have something that is called the channel of initiation in human design, which is one of the tools that I usually use. And it's like planting the seed, it's like initiating. Usually it can be like it has like different levels, like lowers or higher. Like in the lower level, it would mean that I make people compete with me, because competition contributes to evolution, which
Mm.
is a little bit detrimental to myself because I get people competing with me. Yeah, I'm not competing, but people compete with me. And on the other side, it's more like in the higher level, it would be initiating people into spirituality or this or that, and without even knowing. After when I learned, I was doing that, and well, it's a pleasure for me. I enjoy it and I love it, so it comes naturally. And there's a saying, I don't know how to say it in English, that when the student like supersedes or exceeds or the the teacher, well, that would be
Yes.
you. It's like all on, like full on. You did the whole everything. Like I would just get stressed knowing all the subjects that you were going through, and it's like, oh my goodness, she's like nonstop and so like dedicated, and I really admire you, Paula.
Thank you so much. And thank you so very much for planting that seed. I am extremely grateful for that. Definitely.
You know what? To be honest, it could be like an overshadow. It's like the teacher just using me as a channel. So I don't want to take, all the credit for that.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
wanted to, yeah.
Okay. So back in Mexico, which was only a couple of weeks ago, actually, when we were having dinner together, I was trying to explain to you that I can just use your voice, 10 seconds of your voice recording, which we have already done off camera. And I like to say that I'm, peeking under your hood. That we're looking into the invisible energy, which is exactly what you do just with your hands, right? In pranic healing. And of course, I used to do, but being such a geek, I really like to be able to see it on paper. So there's, as you can see on my screen here, every single one of these little tabs across the top are going to open up wormholes of information. And, this is a short demo, and we're probably only going to scratch the well, we're definitely only going to scratch the surface. But I usually like to say the first three tabs, the source, the strength, and the energy flow, are the most important because, as you know, we're energetic beings, right? We need to charge our batteries every day. The first tab is all about that. Are we able to charge those batteries? Are we drawing our prana, our energy, our chi? Are we able to, get that energy and charge us up? So the first tab is the most important tab, because if we can't recharge, we got no life force energy in us. So how do we get those important energetic sources? We get it through diet. We get it through hydration. We get it through movement, oxygenation. We get it through sunlight during the day. We get it through our detoxification, restoration processes at night. And then there's something called big field alignments, which are we in alignment with the Earth's axes? So I just want to draw your attention here, where it says scan priority. You see this little chart
Yeah.
that goes from green. So green is exactly what you would probably think. Green is the green light. Everything is good on green. Also, you might want to make note that something that's all gray here, it's not drawing any of our attention to it. So we're not going to worry about anything in gray. Anything in green is awesome. Anything in yellow is just slightly out of balance. We're not going to really worry about that. What we're really looking for are purples. Okay, purples are number one highest priority, meaning there's an imbalance. There's a healthy frequency and vibration to everything. And then as soon as we deviate from that healthy frequency, whether it's too much or too high, that would be purple. That's the highest deviation from the norm. And then the second priority would be orange. Okay, so right now we're only going to be looking at purples and oranges. So when we go back to your little chart here, we're seeing something about oxygenation, and we're seeing a slight imbalance, or a bigger imbalance with the big field alignments. So when we click on any one of these, and like I said, Cecilia, you will have access when you get a NES scan. You get a free account with NES, and you are going to be able to go in here and you're going to have full access to what I have on some of these tabs. So if you were to click on oxygenation, and we're not going to read through all of this, because one thing about the NES system, boy, they give you tons and tons and tons of information. So if you're geeky like me and you really want to learn, and let me tell you, I have a PhD and a doctorate in natural medicine. Every time I read one of these NES scans, I'm like, whoa, I'm either getting reinforcement for what I already know, or I'm still learning more. So, and this is what made me invest into this system, just because I love information. So oxygenation, obviously, it's exactly what you think about, right? It's how well are your lungs taking in the clean energy, not only taking in the clean energy, but getting rid of. We don't think of the lungs as our biggest detox. When we think about detoxification, what do we think about? The large intestine. We think about the kidneys and the liver, but the lungs are working constantly all day long, trying to off gas our toxic air and bring in the good air. So I don't know, do you feel like you're having any issues with getting clean air? I mean, I know you live at the beach, so you have plenty of air, but you also live in a city. Playa del Carmen is a city on the beach, so you're getting a little bit of both. And the indoor air can be another big thing in Playa, because there's a lot of mold, there's a lot of humidity, things like that. So what do you think about your own oxygenation right now?
Oh, okay. So we are already reading my scan.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, okay. I can see why, because yeah, like especially with the magnetic, because I was in a boat yesterday in the middle of the ocean, and it was so windy. I got all this wind, and I don't know, they say like when you go into the sea salt water, you get charged, but when there's a lot of wind, well, it's physics, so I don't really know how to explain it, but it's making sense, some of the things I'm reading there. And then on the other hand, there were some people smoking, and I don't smoke, but they invited me, and I said yes. I said once a year, it's not gonna hurt anyone, and I had a cigarette, and I never smoke. Of course, it's not gonna show that much, but why not? Because it could be that, maybe, because
Yeah.
there's so many chemicals in it, and I got so dizzy, like from the boat and from the cigarette. So I'm never gonna do it again, I think. No, but I don't. Or maybe, we don't get like into the full stomach, into the bottom,
Yes.
of we don't breathe with the full capacity of our. Last week I went to a breath work, yeah, exercise, and I don't know. It could be a combination of that, or especially what you're saying, the humidity in playa is so,
Exactly. So all of those things that you just said were very much on the physical level, right? The cigarette smoke, the being on the boat, being in the wind. But one thing we also always have to remember with Ness is there's the physical side of things and then there's the emotional side of things. So Ness is always going to remind us that there's always an emotional side. So I just want to let's just think about these questions that they're posing. It's saying, in what way am I not balanced or in alignment? Am I sure of my place in my world and what's knocked me off center? And the reason I'm bringing that up is because we just had dinner together, and you did you did tell me that you were just about to make a huge a change in moving out of Mexico and going, going back to your parents, and it didn't go through. So it seems to me that that certainly, has you not physically but emotionally off center too. I don't know if you want how you feel about that, but
it was there's a saying here that playa either adopts you or aborts you, right? And after 11 years, I wanted to go into a sabbatic, I don't know how you say that in English, year. Like I have my house in Argentina, my family. I said, well, I'm not gonna work for a year, so I will be relaxed. And when I wanted to go, they told me, no, your son cannot leave Mexico for more than 3 months because he's Mexican. I'm like, what? So I had to stay, basically. So I had sold everything, giving everything away. So I find myself in this position like, so I have to start all over again. Playa didn't want to let me go. Like, you're here to serve and you're going to keep on serving because, like, we gave you all the, I don't know, knowledge or anything. I don't know what it happened. But yeah, it threw me off balance because when you want to do something but then I understood everything perfectly why it wouldn't let me go, let's say. So it was, I feel unconditionally loved, which is, I don't know, I felt it like a gift, but I'm still in the process of getting my life back together because I have said goodbye to everyone. And well,
yeah.
so you can imagine it was a
Isn't it,
big.
isn't it interesting how that is coming up as your number one priority? Okay, so that's just the first tab of many tabs. So that's, are we able to charge, get those batteries charged? And then the second tab is all about strength. It's all about, okay, assuming that that energy comes in, are our organs being charged properly? Are we strong from that? So this is, of course, you're very, very familiar with this. And as you're looking at this, I know you're thinking that, oh, these are,
The
these
goodness.
yeah, yeah. So again, we're going to look at just the purples and the oranges, and there's a few of them here. And again, this not only, I do want to make this point, not only are the purples the biggest priority because they're the most out of balance, but it's really another way of looking at this is what your body is saying, it's ready to shift now. Okay, so, and as you know, the human body's like an onion, right? We have so many layers. And even though, we might think, oh, I have thyroid problems, or, oh, I know I have this problem and it's not coming up on the scan. It could be because we need to address other things before we can get to it. We might have to address emotional things before we can get to the physical thing, or vice versa. We might have to address physical before we get. So anyway, today, based on your voice that we did this morning, this is what your body is saying is priority. And since there's quite a few, let's just look at the purple ones first. So again, I'm clicking on the purple, and then here we have, it's always going to give us like just a little brief overview. The nerve is directly related to the brain, lots to do with the brain waves. Again, there's going to be a lot of information. Where it says issues is usually the physical things, that may, and of course, I just always want to remind everybody that we are looking at energy, okay? These are not medical tests. And when the energy starts to change, it may stay there for years before it manifests as physical. So you may or may not have the physical repercussions of this. But let's just see what it says. Okay, this is talking about sensory overload and mental activity, overload of mental activity in your nervous system. What could cause this? Artificial light, EMF pollution, alcohol, prescribed medications, vaccinations, any kind of chemicals, basically here. And then here's some questions. How is my nervous system tied to my health goals? In what way am I numbing my senses? Do I need to wake up to my situation? How can I take steps to slow down and calm my life? So do you feel like you're in kind of an overload right now, a sensory overload?
Well, to be honest with you, and through an astrological approach, my south node is in Aquarius, so it's like saying that I come from the future, from the like Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is the planet of lightning. So I'm not usually plugged into 110 or 220 volts. I'm plugged into 16,000. I don't know. So that's something that, yeah, I have a lot. I've always had, and I know it. And I love to study. I'm a little bit like you. So I'm all the time like taking in like more and more. It's like my Venus is in Gemini. So what I love is to study, to listen to podcasts, to read and to do this and that and to communicate. So I know that I should stay quiet in silence, like processing everything, but it's hard for me because I like doing it.
Yes, I believe me, I
But
can relate. I can relate. But
yeah,
your
and
energy,
then
oh, go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
And then on the other hand, I went through a very hard narcissistic relationship after it was like 10 years ago, but I think I'm recovering from that trauma. And when you go into from I don't know how to say that in English, sympathicotomy into the vague nerve, and you begin like coming down and healing. So it's like it's a process where you need to sleep a lot, and everything is like you hear noise and it's like triggering. So it's like recovering from that
Mm.
trauma bond and all that. So it's not easy. It's not from one day to another. It takes years. And I've been doing all the process myself and helping other people do it at the same time. So, yeah. And being a single mom with a kid, having to work and this and that, of course, it's like modern times. Yeah.
Yes.
You,
So not only is this system pointing out the areas of concern, but each one of these things that are purple and orange, it's going to suggest what's called an infoceutical, and this is the product that NES sells to try to address these specific imbalances in the energy. So what these infoceuticals are is it's literally really just a vial of water, and I'm sorry I don't have one handy dandy with me, but it's a vial of water, mineralized water, and this water has been imprinted with frequency and information. And this frequency and information is meant to overwrite. So, we have a blueprint. You know this exactly, right? Our biofield is our blueprint. And what that is it's just energy. It's energy that dictates what's going on in the physical body. So these infoceuticals are meant to overwrite that information, change that information back to healthy information. So you can see here that this infoceutical would help you to bring harmony to the nervous system. It's calming and relaxing and non-sedative. So, you're describing it's a struggle for you, especially still trying to come off of the trauma of this relationship 10 years ago and your complete sensory overload. So if you were to choose, if you wanted to try to take these infoceuticals, it's just a natural way to ease you through the imbalances that you're having. I just want to point that out because every single one of these has an infoceutical attached to them. So this particular one would help the nervous system. The next one,
Amazing.
yeah, the next one would help the heart. And and again, we're not going to go through all of this. It's always going to talk about, you know, the physical part of the heart. And of course, the heart plays a big role. The heart is the master, right? It's controlling everything. When we come down to issues, it's going to talk about the energy field, shock, stress, pollutants, disturbance associated with the, again, it's the nervous system. Even though it's the heart, it's directly connected to the nervous system again. So, and that's the thing about the NES system is you start to see patterns. You know, you go through each one of these tabs and you're like, oh, your body is like calling out, hello, it's looking for attention. And through these pages, you will start to see exactly what it's trying to tell you. So here are some other questions. This is, again, the heart is very much about joy, right? Joy and enthusiasm, whether you're too overjoyed or not enough joy. But am I being motivated to act through love and from my heart? Are self-limiting beliefs holding me back and governing my behavior and ambitions? Is my diet causing my heart to have to work harder? So, and I know you, like me, are a caregiver. You know, you're always looking to help others. And sometimes that takes a toll on us as the healer, right? Not doing enough for ourselves. Um, so yeah, tell me what you think about the heart and joy and
Yes, like for example, I don't know, to give you an idea, yesterday we went on the yacht and in the middle of nowhere there was a thingy that broke. It was this Neptune Sun conjunction, and we were there in the middle of the ocean. There were kids, there were so it began moving like that. Everyone began throwing up, you know? And it's like it was such a everyone got sick. And I was there holding the energy, you know, helping this one throw up and the other one. And I I have like this huge antenna connected to, I don't know, you know, that's why I receive so much. And that's why my nervous system is so, I get like this abstraction of energy all the time. Well, the thing is like something that was supposed to be enjoyable and full of joy ended up being, you know, and I said, oh, what? So I know like I have the cross of limitation in human design, which is I remove limitations from people and places. So I was supposed maybe to be there to hold the energies, hold space and help and this and that because I didn't get seasick. But yeah, when you're supposed to relax on a Sunday, you end up working. So I was doing healing on the baby that was crying, on the mother that was throwing up, you know. So what can I do? Yeah.
a healer's work is never done, is it? Oh my God, you poor thing.
No,
Okay,
well,
let's just talk about the other. We're not going to go into the oranges as well, but let's just touch on the other two, which are stomach and skin. And stomach and skin, although most people wouldn't connect them, they are absolutely connected because the skin, you know, look at you, you have beautiful, perfect skin. And for me personally, when I started doing this, skin kept coming up. And even on the Healy, we were talking about the Healy before we got on camera. And Healy, whenever I ran a Healy program, my priority was always skin. And way back then, I would say, really? Of all the things that I know are wrong with me, and I was always thinking my skin, right? The skin. But come to find out, you know, you always say, if I only knew then what I know now, it's your gut lining. I don't know if in Spanish you have a term called leaky gut, where you know that your gut is not able to hold on to the nutrients, and then the toxins it's a mess. But I have that condition, and it's the gut lining that's coming up every time skin comes up. So when you have stomach and skin coming up, it could very well be the lining of your gut. So let's just see what it says here for stomach for you. And I don't know if you have any digestive issues, but this is coming up with, what is it going to say here? Again, it's always about um digestion, you know, is the key to everything else. But see what you see if you look through here under issues, and tell me if you see
no,
something.
what I think is like I'm going through a detox, like trying to get rid of the most parasites that I can. So
Mm,
it could be like a consequence of what you call that, like an effect. Yeah, you know what you
yeah.
call it? the effect that comes back as it is healing.
The healing reaction or the Herxheimer
Well,
reaction. Yeah.
yeah,
Healing
because
crisis.
yes, exactly. So yeah, I'm trying to do that. Yeah, but we know that we have to break the biofilm to kill all
Yeah.
these
It's a
thingies. And
it's a constant battle. It is. Okay,
so
so that makes sense then why your stomach is the energy is coming up. And then we've got the skin here as well. And the skin also, let's think too about the emotional. The skin is our barrier. And it's always about, are you able to set boundaries? And see here, right here, the action is protecting your skin and boundaries. So one thing that you can ask yourself is, has anything gotten under your skin? And I know you told me a story about when you were ready to move and a certain person that kind of did get under your skin. So setting clear boundaries in your life. And again, as healers, it's so difficult, especially friends come to you, they need help, and you're just like me, you're constantly giving away your work for free because you want to help people. And it's very hard for us to set our boundaries. So that might be something that you need to reflect on and work on, um, from a healer's point of view.
being more firm on the boundaries. I know, but empaths, we empaths have, yeah, we struggle with that. But I think I've learned a lot, and still learning, of
Yeah,
course.
we all are. We all are. Okay, so the first tab was are we charging our batteries? The second tab was, are we getting our organs getting strength from that um charge? And now this is all about, is the energy and information flowing properly in the body? And this basically is the meridians, right? You recognize these as the meridians. And actually, you could tell that you're an energy worker who meditates and exercises. We have no purples and no oranges, which is absolutely amazing. This is telling us that the energy is flowing through the body very well.
Okay, okay, good, good.
Okay. And then mind and body.
Oof.
I'm not gonna go, I'm not gonna
Again,
Yeah, I'm not
sorry,
going to go too far into this, but these are the four quadrants of the brain. And this is just interesting, I think, for people that are watching this. Um, you know, we might say, oh, I feel great. I'm in a good place in my life. I really don't have any stress. But the reality is shock and trauma for any point in the life. Now, you mentioned you went through a bad relationship 10 years ago, but any part of our life, if we experience shock or trauma, it's stored in one of these four quadrants of the brain. So in this four quadrants, you see how we have numbers here? The numbers, the fours are like the purples. They're the number one priority. The threes are the second priority. So we're only really looking for threes and fours. So here you have a three. Hearing is usually something about something in the past where there was some sort of emotional shock because you didn't hear something. You didn't hear like directions to something and it stressed you. It could have been when you were a kid in school and you didn't hear something and you got all worried, So there's something, or a child not getting a wish. Something is going on. And there's always going to be an affirmation that NES recommends that could help you go through. So when I'm with clients, I usually say, some people remember, their conscious mind understands this, but a lot of the times you don't remember. It's just the subconscious having the problem with it. But I tell clients, if your conscious mind can identify and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds like me, I usually recommend to people that they copy down the affirmation and use it. This one is property. And that's kind of interesting because you said that you did just give all your property away. So, and it's kind of a trauma, right? To get rid of all your property and then want it back and can't get it back. So that's kind of interesting, I think.
and
Uh,
I told you the story, right? About
yes, you
the
gave,
the
because you were going to move back to Argentina and you gave all your things away and then you couldn't move and then you couldn't get your stuff back, which
Yeah, and at the same time, me having a house over there, in Argentina, and not having my house here in Mexico, it makes it, it's like, how come? Well, anyway, yeah, I get that. I get why. And then the hearing, I think it could be like not being heard, as a
yes.
child, which is so. That's why as a mom I try to be there for him and listen to him and try not to be on the devices so much, like to pay attention. And that is so important because we have so many distractions nowadays. Well, I try him to be, you know, being a Leo, I
Yeah.
try to pay attention to him, but it's
Excellent.
something.
Excellent. And we'll look at a couple other threes now. Wronged. This could be right in line with the property, right? You feel at some point in your life, you felt that you were being felt wrong. There was some sort of unpleasant situation where you were wrongly accused, or there was an unjust act. And your memory is not digesting this. It's not accepting that because you were wronged. And then swallow is kind of the same thing. There's something that you couldn't swallow, some situation at any point in your life that was just you're having trouble swallowing it.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, I know exactly where it goes. Yeah.
So we would, in a real session, we would go into every single one of these brain quadrants, and we would, try to dissect and go through how is the mind affecting the body. And that's another thing that, I didn't really talk about here, but obviously the hearing is affecting the ears, right? But it's not always obvious. Like, for instance, isolation. If you're feeling isolated, or if you were isolated at any time in your life, you're away from the family, pulled away from the pack, that's going to affect the kidneys. And those kind of connections, unless you're a Chinese medicine doctor, people don't really understand how the brain, and not the brain, excuse me, how the mind and the emotions directly affect the physical body. And Ness does an amazing job of bringing that together so people can understand. And I know in pranic healing, we certainly learned a lot of the connections between the chakras. So we won't go too far into this, but here you can see emotions. And here, look at this. No purples whatsoever. Oh my goodness. You like
All
the,
resentment.
and well, I mean, we don't really look at yellows and greens. We only look at oranges. So love is the only one. And well, I know you're
Mm.
single and looking for love, so,
Okay.
but other than that, I know you're a, hardcore pranic meditator. And boy, if this doesn't tell the story, got anyone who's listening, because most people, it's filled with oranges and purples because it's hard to keep our emotions in check. But when you see a true meditator here, this is an A plus plus as far as a report card. So that's wonderful.
Oh, like for compassion. So that would be good, right? The compassion of having everything.
Exactly. Everything here is good. Love is the only one that's a little bit of off balance. And
Well,
you
but
know,
to be on to be more I don't know if specific, but this narcissistic relationship that I had, or traumatic event, like him cheating on me and taking advantage of me, like I literally closed my heart and never opened it again, and then I'm still trying to do it, but that's a shock. That it
yeah,
was like red flags everywhere. So yeah, it's so hard to. I was wrong so bad, that yeah, I'm still trying to recover from that and feel that I deserve love, that I deserve to be loved, and all that. It's so hard to believe after such a shocking and traumatic event.
exactly. And you saw in your brain quadrant, we had wronged, right? We had all of the things you're talking about are right there, and in the scan, in 10 seconds of your voice, it's right there and we can read it. It's amazing. It truly is amazing. And don't forget, all of the things that come up in this scan, there's an answer. The NES, has the answer to it. There's something called feel good infoceuticals, where most of the infoceuticals, the reason they call them infoceutical, because it's a play on pharmaceutical, where you would need a practitioner, you would need me, you would need to make an appointment and get a scan and find out which ones you need and purchase those. But there's also something called feel good infoceuticals, and those anybody can buy. Anybody with a NES account, which you now have, you can go up and buy them at any time. And there's one called Love, so
Okay.
yeah, so
Do they ship, like, do you ship to Mexico or?
I, you know,
We will need to find that out
I'm
because I
going to,
would be a
I
fan.
would, I would absolutely imagine so. Because I know that there's nest practitioners all over the world. So I'm gonna say 99% yes, that they go to
Okay.
Mexico. But I'll
Otherwise, I wouldn't mind being a distributor here. You send me and I distribute here in Mexico.
yes, yes. Well, after you take them and see how you feel, then you'll be telling your own story, right? Nothing is better than telling your own story. And then if your friends and your clients with pranic healing, yes, you can absolutely get them shipped to you. Okay, so we're not going to go as deep because I know time is important for both of us, but this one, energetic immunity, again, Cecilia, you look amazing. Okay, the only one that's coming
Thank
up is
you.
lymph. What this is where your immune system is calling for a little bit of extra help. And your immune system here is looking amazing. The only thing it's saying is your lymph system might need a little bit of extra help. And who doesn't, right? Our lymphatics, the lymphatic system is the sewage system of the body, and it doesn't have a pump. I know that you know this. So most people don't know this. We have to manually, if we're not exercising all the time, we have to manually rub our skin and rub our lymph nodes to get them moving. But it's certainly not anything that I would be worried about with you. Now here, this
No, but I know where it comes from. Like after doing like breast cancer healing after so many years, I think after like 10 years, I think I got a little bit contaminated. So I need to clean more. You know how they say, like clean
after
yourself
chronic
after the
healing,
healing. And we
yeah.
are so like, yeah, it doesn't matter, but yeah, it does.
It
Yeah.
does matter. I know. I was a lazy prana killer as well. It's terrible. Okay,
Oh
so
my goodness.
here is where this is this little device that I was telling you about. This is the My Health device. And what this is specifically for is to shows you today, as of the scan today, here are some areas where the energy isn't just not going through. Now, the heart came up somewhere else. So if we click on heart, we're going to go down here and see it's always going to give the mind body connection for a possible reason why the energy is not traveling through the heart correctly. It represents emotional center and governs our emotional balance. Problems can be due to long-term emotional problems, taking everything to heart, or being too serious. Problems arise when there's a lack of love for ourselves or a relationship has caused heartbreak.
Oh
So
my goodness. I was saying all this before.
yes, yes. So in addition to the infoceutical that you would take to help this energy field, this is just one more thing to do. And if we were in person, I would just hold it in front of your heart. And even remotely, if this was an actual session, I would do the same thing. We would set our intention, right? Because we're connected. Everything in the universe is connected, and you and I can connect. How many times have I had pranic healings from you? You're in Mexico and I'm in Maine, and it works, right? This is going to work the same way. I would just turn the device on with you there on the Zoom, and we would hold our intention that this is going to work on your heart. So that's how that would work. Let's just look. And now look, skin is coming up again. So this is the second time skin came up, and we don't even have to read this because we already know it's going to be about
Protection.
barrier, the boundary between you and somebody else. So just something for you to think about. And then we have teeth. That's interesting. Let's see what it says for teeth. So this one
Yeah.
represents again, it's a boundary between you and other people. Problems with the teeth could be a personal boundary between ourselves. It could also be particularly regarding a mother figure, your mom. Maybe there's boundary issues between you and your mother. Um, yeah, don't know, but
Yeah. I still have to remove some root canals. So after some years, you have to
mhm,
replace them.
yep,
But totally, the whole thing about boundaries have to do loving like my family more than myself. And now I'm reverting, like no way, respect my bound. Otherwise, they would just take and take and take, and. So I'm like,
yes.
okay.
Yep, and your
Me
energy
first.
is telling you that's a you're right. It's the time. Now is when you need to really take control of it. Okay, now we've got the acoustic nerve. I'm not familiar with this one as much. Let's see what it says. It's our ability to hear. Now, again, when we did the mind body, we were looking at the brain quadrants. You did have hearing came up from a past emotional shock. Maybe you weren't heard uh, throughout your childhood, and it's causing an energetic blockage now. So
You know what? Go ahead, sorry.
there could have also been a conflict between what we want to hear and our interpretation of what's being said, so we could be kind of twisting the reality because we want it to be a certain way. Or maybe you're becoming too judgmental regarding others' opinions and you're wanting to close your ears to something somebody else is saying.
Okay, also that I it might contribute, I don't know, to after so many years of meditation, I developed like a CD, instead of the clairvoyance that I as well
Yeah.
developed. It's like what you call it, I don't know in English, like
Oh,
auditory.
clear audio.
There
Yes.
you go, clear audience. So that's why I get so like uh, I hear noise, I hear everything, even like what people think and what the internal dialogue, and
Yes.
it's so overwhelming. I still need to shut that at will and all
Yeah.
that.
Wow. That's amazing. So the
Yeah,
Nest
but it
could sense
affects my
that.
nerves. That's
Yeah.
why it's coming up so high. Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. Okay, so let's just get one last thing here. This is the larynx mucosa. Again, this one I don't really know. So this is associated with the throat, and it represents your ability to speak your truth, not being able to express yourself fully and being stifled in some way. Do you identify with that?
Totally, because my life mission in through human design is to tell people what they are not supposed to do, what they cannot do. And who wants to listen to someone telling them what they cannot do? No one. So what I do, I usually swallow that up,
Uh,
but I'm starting to be, hey, this is my life mission. Maybe to say it with love and more compassion and that, but I'm starting to do it. It's like, hey, you shouldn't treat a child like that, or this or that. And yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, these next couple screens are very, very deep. They're going to be showing, yeah, look at this, the solvents, toxic metals, food, all kinds of sensitivities, nutritional sensitivities and vitamins, fat, minerals. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And to be honest, since I'm not a nutritionalist, this is kind of out of my wheelhouse. I usually don't even go there because I don't want to get out of my scope of expertise. But this part is all about the mind body, and this gets very deep too. And I do want to mention Choice Point is something that's free with the NES account. It's a whole there's lessons. Actually, there's one lesson for every single one of these. So typically what you would do is you would go and see where you're out of balance, and then you could go
My God.
intuition. You could go and just watch the videos because it's going to give you life lessons based on where your body is ready to make a shift. But this is a very deep, some people will do like 90-minute sessions just going through this section alone because there's so much. But let me just click through very quickly. Again, love is coming up here, and I think that's going to be a little theme for you. The hero's journey. I don't know if usually people that read tarot cards would know the hero's journey, but waking up, aligning with your purpose are coming up for you. There's some archetypes. You're the treasure, the merchant, the healer, and the alchemist. How perfect for you. And I know I'm going really fast. This is just so much to it. Beliefs and emotions, though, are one, although I think we already did emotions, but let's just look at beliefs, because one thing that I want to mention too is Ness will take everything where you're out of balance on the mind aspect and the emotional aspect, and it will create a 15-minute completely customized meditation for you. And you listen to it and you're like, oh my goodness, so for you, it would be things like, I am accepted, I am the creator of my experience. This meditation costs 30 US dollars. And like I said, it's 15 minutes. You have the option to purchase it through your account, and then you own it forever. You could download it to your phone and you could keep it forever. But if you were to listen to it every single day for 30 days, chances are you would have made these shifts. And then the next time you do a scan, other things would come up as priority, and you could buy a new meditation based on those things. But yeah, so anyway, there's a lot here, a lot. Now, at the end of it, this last tab says recommendations. So you saw there was purples all over the place, purples and oranges. So based on the software, it's going to come up with your top 5 highest priority recommendations. And this is what the software came up with. The big field alignment, like we were talking about, are you knocked off of your center? Did something knock you off of your center? And you recently went through something pretty big that knocked you off your center. So that's your first priority, is to get the infoceutical called BFA. Then the heart is your second priority, followed by stomach, skin, and then this brain quadrant. This is all about the emotional. So those things that you were talking about, you're trying, it's 10 years of trauma that you're still trying to go through. This particular infoceutical is just going to try to help you. It's just going to try to naturally make it a little bit easier for you to let go of these emotional hurts and traumas from the past. And
And
then,
it has like ba flowers, or what
no,
do you know what is it?
this is just water. And I'm going to show you what they look like. Hold on one second.
Yeah. Like, what is it made out of? Or, I mean, don't reveal the
It's,
the secret.
oh, I have my screen. Maybe if
Oh,
I put it here.
okay,
Um,
yeah.
it's just literally water with minerals in it. The only reason there's minerals in it is to hold on to the energy. Just like with us, when we have a pranic healing, what do we always tell people? Make sure you drink lots of water when you leave here. Otherwise, you or your body can't hold on to that new energy. We pump people with energy. We need the water in there to hold on to it. So without and of course, we need the minerals in our bodies in the water. So there's minerals in here to hold on to the energy. And then it's just frequencies. Bless
Right.
you. It's just imprinted with special frequencies that NES developed over, I don't know, 50 years of research. And I'm telling you, they're very powerful. Like, some people can't take more than 2 or 3 drops. And I've taken the full 15 drops every time I get my new batch of 5 every month. And sometimes 15 is too much. I take 15 drops and I get a headache for the rest of the day. So I either back down the drops, or I suffer through the headache for a couple of days, and then your body kind of recalibrates, and then you could stay at 15 drops or even go higher. But anyway, that's all it is it's just water. And people often ask, well, I'm already taking a real pharmaceutical, or I'm taking, antibiotics, or I'm on this, that, or the other. There's no contraindications at all. It's completely natural, and it's just energy. So anyway, I hope this was a good overview. And if you do have a lot of questions, you can always ask me afterwards and email me, and you will be put on my mailing list. And I have little, you'll probably get one every 2 or 3 days, and it's just little bits of information, because this is kind of hard to explain in one sitting. So it's just, some are going to be about the infoceuticals, some are going to be about the scan, but it's just going to kind of teach you. It's going to teach you more about bioenergetics. And
It's amazing.
it
Sorry,
really
go
is.
ahead.
We call this the future of medicine. Both Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla said that the medicine of the future will be medicine of energy and frequency. And you've been doing it all along with pranic healing, but this is just this is using, what I love about this is it takes the old ancient healing and it puts it together with the cutting edge quantum physics. So it's the beautiful marriage of the two. It's using the software and, high tech things, but it's using traditional Chinese medicine and all the things that we're familiar with. Yeah, it's a beautiful system. It really is.
It sounds a lot like Pluto in Aquarius, right? Like the new,
Yeah,
the
here we
future
go.
is here now.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can people contact you, doctor? Like, do you have your email or how can they reach out to you?
Yes, so my business name, which I should tell the little story about my business name. My business name is Mariposa Energy, and it's Mariposa because when I went on my sabbatical to Mexico, that's when I met you. And that's when my world of energy got opened up. And I spent a whole month doing deep meditation. And I completely transformed my life. I went from chronic pain every single day and to this day, 100% pain free based on that sabbatical. So I had such an amazing transformation in Mexico that I named my business Mariposa Energy. And for those who aren't Spanish speaking, Mariposa is Spanish for butterfly. So my website is mariposaenergy.co, not com, just co. And there's where people could go to learn all about me, and of course contact me through the website. And I have information about the bioenergetics. I've got all kinds of information on there, and I just got on Instagram. I just got on,
Yay!
and my what do you call it? My handle,
Yeah, your
my
handle. Yeah.
it's at Dr. Opro, dr.opro, APRO. So thank you for following
Yes.
me, Cecilia. Hopefully I'll be gaining some
I
some
love to see your stories with the horses and it's so they are so beautiful and all the fields and yeah, to see
yeah,
a little bit of green. We have a lot of blue here, but not so much of that
right,
kind of green. So
right.
it's
Well, you'll see some blue when I get back. I'm in North Carolina until May, but then I'll be back up in Maine. But the beauty of this, the future of medicine, right, is that I work mostly on remote. So I would say 80 to 90% of my clients are remote. So as long as people can speak English, because I can't speak Spanish yet,
yet,
yet
yes,
one of these days I'll get there. But yes, I can see clients all over the world. So if you could spread the word in
yes,
Mexico, that would
totally.
be wonderful.
And you have access to all of this with only 10 seconds of your voice. That is
Crazy.
amazing. Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
is amazing. And if you want to do another demo one of these days, believe it or not, this is only one of the
Wow.
bioenergetic voice analysis. I have a whole nother system. It's, it's sometimes I think about them as competition, but really I use them together. They complement each other. The other one is very specific. If you have a specific concern, a specific area of your health you want to look at, boy, we could really get under the microscope at that point and see, drill down into very specific topics. Like for instance, I have a database of every parasite in the world, and and we can see exactly which ones your body is resonating with.
The
So, and
that
not
would be, oh, sorry, it
and
cut
not
out a
only
little.
see, not only see which bugs, but then we can send these frequencies back into your body, even remotely, to try to take those parasites and put them in a dormant state. So it is truly amazing stuff that we can do these days.
Because I was doing some research and they basically like I don't want to sound too crazy, but yeah, they program you these parasites. They program like either like suicidal tendencies or I heard even like they make you change sex preferences, like funguses and uh I was like, wow, thrilled to read all this. Of course, it's hard to believe still, but I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like when you look at I don't know if you remember the Matrix, the movie when he gets implanted this parasite in his
Yes.
belly. It's like, oh, it makes sense. But yeah,
Yeah, it's usually the parasites that drive us to the sugar, drive us to the alcohol, even like tinnitus, that's the ringing in the ears. So many people struggle with this now, and especially after vaccinations and drugs and things. And that could be, I heard that that could also be parasites literally humming, just the ringing from the parasites. So
Oh my
it's a
gosh,
much,
that's so
much bigger problem than most
disgusting.
people think about. You know, usually people say, oh, I don't have parasites because I don't have intestinal problems. When we think of parasites, we think of, you know, upset stomach and things like that. But let me tell you, parasites are like one of the biggest causes of constipation. So parasites cause a world of problems. They suck all of our minerals out of our body, which lead to inflammation in so many levels. So I don't know about in Mexico, but here in the United States, if you go to the doctor and say you want a parasite test, I think they might test for like 6 parasites when there's hundreds and hundreds of parasites. So it's kind of it flies under the radar, and it's probably one of the biggest problems that we suffer with that are just nobody knows about. And it's a big part of my practice.
Yeah, they don't even show up, in the results. Yeah,
Right,
they don't
right.
come.
Right. So that's where
Okay.
this is really helpful, because there is a frequency to everything in the world, every mineral, every, you know, every gemstone you have, every crystal, everything we eat, every vitamin, every parasite, every virus, every bacteria has its own frequency. And this software that I'm using has the database of everything. So if you're in resonance, meaning if there's something in your voice that's showing that exact frequency of that exact bug, it's not a medical test, and it's not saying yes 100% for sure you have this, but the chances are pretty good that if you're in that high of a frequency with this bug, it's probably in you.
Yeah. Yeah, after me learning the boundary thing, because out of compassion and being an empath and a healer, I would have so many people hanging from me, and that was another way of being parasited, like
Yes,
having people hanging from your energy and sucking all the energy out of you. And that's why it's coming up the skin protection limits,
yes,
boundaries, and all that. And so I'm starting to
words,
let them go,
right,
detach and all that. It's another form of,
right.
okay,
We got to be
letting
cutting
yourself
those cords, right? Constantly
exactly.
cutting the cords. Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's a good ending to getting to the end of this. We got to cut our cord too, right?
Yeah.
On the
Because
video.
us here, we could be talking for hours.
I
So
know,
yeah, you let
I
me know
know.
when,
All
but
right,
yeah,
well,
we don't,
actually, I think we should end the recording here.
yeah.
So, thank you so much for watching. Anybody who's gotten all the way past the hour point here, I really, really appreciate.
Yeah.